Good day. Good day. Josie here. I'm an artist and a medium, a mentor actually to many that carry psychic skills and gifts in this lifetime. And I'm encouraged to step in to speak a bit more about that process. For I'm sure many of you kind of like step onto YouTube for there's multiple things that are searchable and accessible to kind of like clarify your sight, access further vision, enhance or expand your psychic skills, like all these promises, right? In these video headings to then kind of like draw you in and get you started on still a solitary journey moving through very deep skills like telepathy or oracle, seer, mediumship, all of these things that carry big titles, which um, fill in the blanks, please. Soothsayer. What other words have you gotten and received within your connections that of some gifts that you may carry? And so trust that today, the plan for this video, you're welcome to like grab a tea, have some water, get a drink, get comfortable, or you can put around the house, right? And actually move through like cleaning or, doing things, right? As you listen to these messages. And if I share some visuals on screen, I'll just share that too, so that then you're welcome to kind of pause the video. And if you want to take a moment to see that what I am sharing. Okay. Of course, the first thing I'm going to share is that we're really cognizant of this type of journey, right? That we get spoken of, that we're going to embark upon when we connect to the supernatural, when we connect to the spirit or ancestral realms, when we connect to fill in the blank, right? Is that you feel that you've gotten this call to adventure, right? And this is like, you could Google this hero's journey, right? That's why I already have it written down. Oop, as I fall my video thing too. Okay, so call to adventure, boom, it shows up in some way. You might like have someone right within a reading that you've gotten saying like, oh, you have gifts or you have immense psychic skills, or maybe they've just occurred and you've kept them quiet, right? You've kept them to yourself, but you just know things or you just feel things, you just sense things beyond, right? And so there's many different ways we get that call, and you're welcome to share within the comments some ways that you felt like you've gotten this kind of like call to further explore your psychic skills, your psychic gifts. Okay. And this is kind of like in the known realms, right? And we sometimes see this visual as like the tip of the iceberg, right? Like what is above the ocean, and then like the depths, right? The depths of the unknown, the depths of the mystery that we're going to embark upon. So we could maybe get some spiritual messages, we get some connections to supernatural aid and assistance, angels, most beloved, ancestors, most protected, guardians, caregivers, all of those beautiful beings that are most beneficent and most wondrous and love us along this arduous journey of our life. Okay. So we then, get this nudge and we get some additional signs, right? Everybody likes signs. So you get some additional signs to like venture and maybe cross that threshold. To cross that threshold and move into a bit more of the mystery that is carried within your psyche. Psychic skills. Psyche is like, if you even looked in the dictionary, psyche carries three definitions: soul, spirit, or mind. Whoa. And we know all of those terms require, well, they've been like simplified and gentrified and all those things. That's kind of what I'm getting. But that's like a very big unknown, right? A big mysterious space to go in to explore all by yourself. So thank goodness on the hero's journey, there's some helpers that come along the way, right? Like the animal, the guardians, the familiars, the trees, nature, the birds, all of those fabulous, like wondrous things that are also connected to what is here, right? In the sensory experiential realms. And of course, then maybe a mentor shows up and says, hi, 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 I've walked this path before. I can give you some advice to support this most arduous walk, right? This most what might feel cataclysmic at times, right? Because of course we move into like some challenges there within the psyche as we uncover and explore and practice our skills. Maybe you start to like are get like all the fears and the uncertainties come up, all the misgivings or the things within the ancestral lines or the ways that they may have utilized or misused their gifts in the past come up, right? That's like the intergenerational woundings of psychic skills. And as well, that also moves into, as you see, like the temptations that come with these gifts. Like, ooh, maybe I can, do this, the pandering, right? The trying to like cater to everybody's needs, the hungry consumers of like wanting more knowing, wanting more and more. All right. So this is a difficult space to be. So thank goodness we have helpers and mentors and guardians and guides and all these things to support the walk, right? To assist us in potentially then moving into some places of revelation, of further awareness, of further expanding and opening your perceptions to access things. But in that same revelation, right, it even shares like in the terms of hero journey that we might then dive and move into the abyss. It depends on, right, like how much fears we carry or uncertainties are held. And I don't want to get too far into that, but you're more than welcome to share some of them in the comments again. Like, let this be a place where you can bring up some of the experiences you may have already experienced within this journey, because I'm sure I'm not like the like you might not just be here, right? You might have done this process again and again and again and again, and then almost like overemphasized some of like the uncertainties or the mishaps, the mistakes, the cacas, right? All the shoots and the ploops. And kind of like what happens is that when we step into the abyss, it's like almost like it goes and kind of just like skips us right back into there, right back into going, well, we're returning, we're stepping back towards maybe starting the adventure again, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just turn them off. Have you felt that before? Maybe I'll just turn those skills off and I'll just, move through life without accessing all that I carry. Oh, I feel you. I feel you. There have been times within my walk too that that almost felt like the easier route until then, right? Something comes calling again. Something goes knock knock to support you in your joys and on all these things, right? Like, oof, you might need to move through this again. And so, yes, we may then move into and beyond that. Oh, look at all these things that are like promised in this hero's journey, right? Of transformation. Now, I would even like shift this word from like the old journeys of myths. And instead of saying atonement, let's almost just say like rectification, like how we adjust, how we become better ancestors, those terms, how we unlearn some of the ways that we may have done before, and or the ways that our ancestral lines have done before, how our soul has experienced things before, and we do some reenacting, like shifting, reviewing, revising. And then, of course, we get to the fun that we then maybe are accessing from all of this awareness a more grounded walk back, a more grounded return. And it doesn't even feel like then we're going to go back into it again. It's a different return. It's a return until then living our life with these skills grounding into us, affirmed and embodied in us, so that we can then like walk forwards and continue onwards in what we are kind of committed and agreeing to do to impact and shift our lives and potentially the lives of each other, right? Supporting humanity in the earth. It always comes back to that. So yes, this hero's journey, many of us may be aware of. Okay, so I still have visuals. Actually, I was sharing you could walk around, and then I'm realizing there's some visuals to start off this process because, of course, many of us might have read some books in our lives or watched some scary movies about that hero's journey, right? Or about witchcraft, psychic skills, premonitions, all the things that are make really good movies or books. Yes, stories. And we know in a story arc, okay, and this is like literally in literature 101, we discover that all writers kind of agree to do like that our story needs to have a beginning, that then the main character, the hero, reaches and accesses some type of conflict or problem to solve. You know what I mean? That they have an issue, or else why would we be reading the book, right? Why would we be reading it? So there has to be conflict. And that conflict then moves through cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, right? Rises in like certain plot points to finally get to, again, this big climax, this big life altering event that then falls into like all these other things, potentially being like dispersed, like, destroyed, as well as potentially some things being resolved. Okay. And yeah, that makes a good book, an exciting book. And that makes an interesting mystery that, you know what I mean? That encourages ticket sales and movie theaters to compact, a life story or a journey into this type of like boop, boop, up the mountain, down the mountain, and back into that like hero's journey of maybe being broken up again. But what I share is an invitation, not even an invitation, something to consider is that potentially if that hero or if that main character of the story, you, who is trying to move through all of these different psychic skills and gifts, decides instead that instead of it being a problem to solve, right? Instead of it being like a big, massive mystery to resolve on your own, that maybe once that call comes, I'm going to just show you kind of like a different form. You're going to be like, what? what does that remind you of? What does that look like to you? I'm sure like certain things come up with different shapes and forms. But what if then, right? Like that call to adventure, that first sacred call to further explore your gifts, okay, leads you right to choosing and a trusted mentor to walk alongside you. Boop, boop, boop. Gently, paced accordingly. Kind of actually like this lovely line of turtles I have. Isn't it cute? That it doesn't have to be a bloop, bloop, up and down walk, a jerky and uncertain, you know, like peaks and valleys finish type of thing. It can be a gentler pace to embrace and honor your experiences, as well as to care for your psyche, during the processes of further enabling or allowing your psychic skills to flourish, to develop, to ground in that understanding over time, nicely paced, so that then when we kind of, we even then have time along the way to take the space as needed to process those things that may come up, those commiserations, those uncertainties. Right? There's no like need to jump up and down. We're almost like shifting a bit of that cause and effect. And then in that agreement of that mentorship, let's just add this. Let me see if you can see it. Mentorship. Oh, we then create a container. Here's our ship where we embark on this journey together, acknowledging our humanness, caring for our limits, for the need in these times to have safer and more cared for spaces. So that then, when we're done, there's the little anchor. You can feel nurtured and ready to potentially continue onwards into your own life story of how you weave and potentially move with all of these beautiful psychic gifts discovered, uncovered, gathered, drawing all those things and braiding and weaving them over time to support a more assured line forwards, a more assured and emphatic walk onwards. Because I share with you from some experience that process becomes a wondrous and nurturing experience instead of like this kind of stop start scare tactic freakouts, up and down roller coaster rides of depths to surface again. How are you doing? I'm going to have some water. We just went on a journey there. Gosh. I'm going to check my notes. You're welcome to even jot down some things or speak some things out, right, that may have come up from that experience. There's been too many frights around psychic skills, hasn't there? Too many sleepless nights, too many Google searches, or what are they called? Like rabbit holes of just like furthering that mystery. I'm going to share a little sigil or sigil that I got to paint with my beloved guardians. Sigils share many layers and that are painted with a depth of intention and reverence. And so this one shares easing, supporting, clarifying the mind, our psyche. Mm. May you enjoy what may come if you wish to look at it. You don't have to. You can even move away from the screen. Mm. The elements are our friends. The practices to support our psychic gifts are simple. They can be done at home with water, with the food we eat, how we cook it, how we clean our floors, how we bathe our body, how we nourish and tend to our body, mind, and feelings, our care. And when we allow some of more tending to our psyche, we honor that psyche is fragile and could have carried many repetitive strains, right? Like that time and time again that you've moved and grooved through that hero's journey or moved and grooved through that story arc, you see. So the process of gently kind of tending to our gifts in a more secured and honored way allows us also to gift the natural space for what then all like the things that may release within the process. And these releasings of those things wound up, those unravelings, have been given many names. And you're welcome to look up the meanings of the words I share, but like a conflagration, which almost feels like an internal combustion. Transfiguration, like literally shifting how your body makeup is. Changes of weight or stature, like, right? Like the figure, transfiguration. And transmuting many of those things that may be carried that have been unsupportive for all that you are. Mm. Mm. So, what I have curated here on this YouTube page is free content that is like here to and shared to support your study. Even if you don't step into mentorship with me, do you see that the more educational study is shared in that same gentler pace? It doesn't mean that it's, um, silly. I know I call it play school, but I do that to support an allowance and unraveling of some of the hardening of how we have learned things before. The whole education system. So yes, there's YouTube and the videos that are shared here to support your study and processes in understanding and developing your psychic skills. And of course, some sweet messages from my guardianship that I walk with in this lifetime. And what I mean by guardianship is simply it's just like a collated term, just like, right? It creates a container for all the beloved soul guardians, guides, beloved ancestors, and protectors that sit with me and assist me in my work in this lifetime and what I share of these services and care. Hmm. So yes, they come through and give me a knock knock when they're like going, "Hey, Jose, it's time to record a message, not just for you, but for all on the YouTube, please." And so you'll see those on the video shorts to explore. Hmm. And then, yes, I know we like to read things still. So I keep and maintain a blog. And my promissory note is to continue to extend some of those simple elemental practices that can be incredibly supportive and very simple to replenish our souls, to assist our psychic gifts and integration and those contemplation times. So lots of things for you. And if ever you're so curious of connecting and going, what is this mentorship program that Josi offers is all about? I've shared a document in the captions, in the content of this YouTube video that describes the details, the protocol, everything in its entirety. So you can read through it and think about it as many times as you need to. Mm. Let's see. Let's see. I'm nudged always at the end. So one thing my guardians too love to do is that they're like, for grounding, we then get to see like something pretty. So I'm going to pull out the Healing with the Fairies Oracle deck. And while I do that, I'm just going to double check my notes and see, is there anything that I may have missed out upon? And if you feel that I've missed out upon something that is a very pressing question after, I do thank you for watching this video. Of course, like, subscribe, all those things that we all say on YouTube videos you can do. But you can also, again, share within the comments any further questions that may be arising from this, and I'll see what I can answer, and I will share what may more be required to be answered within a session. And that can be one of my bookable one-on-one sessions of an oracle reading, a past loved one's communication, or a soul council connection, which is where we connect to your guardianship and receive guidance and care. I think that's about it. Oh, yes, there's going to be many. I know there's so much interest and excitement about planes of consciousness and different realms and dimensions. So, yes, like some of that will come up in the ESP Play School. Okay. Um, and you'll definitely like there's more to come, there's more to come, and just because I may not have shared it all just yet doesn't mean that yeah, like we're still on this journey together. You can still get to know me here. Yay. Oh, okay. So what really comes up with that is how neat. I was sharing that there might be some releasing processes that come up within um, nurturing and caring for your psychic gifts. I'm even getting like the word sacred gifts, the sacred things. Even some of you might feel like your sacred keys that you carry. Mm. Okay. There might be some things even after, if you listen to this video in its entirety, that I'm going to share now some ways to tend and care for your psyche. Do you see? Because even the energy shared in this video may bring up some stuff to shift, may bring up some things that start to shift within your psyche. Okay. So I'll share with you some gentle things to do at night. If you're able to, meaning if you have a bathtub and you're able to actually move into the bathtub, draw yourself a bath, not too hot, but not too cold. And it can't be tepid either. It needs to feel comforting, like a comforting embrace. And to allow in that bath a little bit of salt, sea salt or those Himalayan pink salts, you know, those types of things. Epsom, yes, if you have lots of muscle ache after this letting go, like after this process. But more so thinking of what to add in to that bath that will allow it to be fragrant, to smell nice, that makes you feel that you're not then just getting a warm hug, but also that, right, like the scent of the water is wafting up into you and allowing you to breathe a little sweeter. And that might be like herbs or flowers, right? Like fresh herbs or flowers. I see some of you sprinkling, you know, those into the bath. And if you don't have those available, they can be dried. Or, yeah, it's like almost like I'm getting some of you might want, like to even brew a tea, brew like your favorite herb mixture in a tea, and then let that tea cool down just a little and add that into the bathtub. Or even, of course, our essential oils. And to then allow yourself some space in there and even to like wash with a washcloth your face and just then cover, almost let that warm washcloth cover all the parts of your face, you know, your forehead towards the temples, and just like tent it over your nose so that you can just take some gentle breaths. And if you cannot move into the bathtub, you can do this within the shower. What they share with me is, in a way, like have a seat in the shower, or if you're in a wheelchair, you know, you can be in the shower and let the shower run a little bit of heat, and then drop in the fragrances by the drain, even in a bowl if needed. And you can allow, they even have, like, I know they're sharing, like some people will be like, oh, there's like those pucks of like eucalyptus or that can like waft into the shower. And if that feels good, yes, but no, you don't want anything that is too strong that allows your eyes to tear. To support release, we don't need more tears. We already will be tearing potentially, right? There might already be emotions moving. So this is like gentle, soft and sweet. And so even if you're in the shower, they're giving me this visual of like that you could even bring in a flower with you to the shower. You can bring in a sprig of rosemary. You can bring in, you know, a little bouquet. And you just allow that to be held onto your chest as you let the water run over you. A gentle stream, not too hard in that pressure. It doesn't need to feel like the water is beating you. A gentle stream to allow that to trickle down you. And whenever you need to, you just like, you know, take a whiff of that scent. Okay. There's one more card coming. I thank you if you are still here. Yeah. Whenever I get this card in the deck, I know everybody's like, romance, romance is going to happen. There's this beautiful kind of like, ooh, like you might have been spoken of in communion, communion with nature, communion with the divine, the harmonizing of human and what is almost like, beyond human, that loves and cares for us. Hmm. Then we can access, yes, there's like there's two that come, they're like, yes, we can release, there might be some things that come to release, and you may also receive some sweet connections or messages. Oh, but they're like, don't wait for them, right? When we wait for a call, it never comes. So in this, and potentially receiving connections from more of your guides or guardians, if they're like, yes, yes, go have fun with Josie, then to go about your day, right? Go about your day, do your exercises, spend some time in nature, read your favorite book, make some art, doodle, journal, write down some of your wishes and your fears. Speak to them. Speak to them. You see? Whisper some of your wants and needs to the trees. Even if there's no leaves on the trees, as you can see outside my window right now. Like, just place a hand on there. They're really, really strong guardians and caregivers. And just soften your gaze and feel where the pain or the intensity of the walk has been held, almost like sharing it has been held in your body. And just go, I relinquish the carry, what I'm carrying. I relinquish that holding. I am sharing some of that with you, because trust that those trees, right? Trees are all connected, right? All the roots kind of like move through the ground together. And so that they can disperse what you're carrying through kind of like this web of roots that are almost like that around our entire earth. Whew. Breathe some of it out with them. Hmm. Especially if some things come up that I'm also, I can say it like that feel combustive, like that feel bring too much heat, feel like it's bringing too much fire within. Bring that to the trees and just share it out, even in the gentlest whisper. Ooh, I thank you for moving through those two processes with me. Mm. All right. Thank you. Thank you for sitting with me today. I'm so honored. I've been mentoring now for some time, and it's been refining and honoring my process in like on in this lifeline, in this lifetime. And it may be different than some of the processes of the ancestors, my most beloved ancestors that have also carried gifts. So I am greatly honored to welcome you to my mentorship program. There are two ones to choose from in timing and duration, and lots of good things to read through to support your considerations and contemplations on embarking on, a different type of journey for you. one that may be feeling a bit more connected to our bodies and the earth. Thank you. Take care. I'll stop the record. Over and out.